some learnings, exchange of thoughts, or exchange of ideas. So please make it more interactive. Anything there is nothing structured. Anything which you would like to share or you like to ask, I'll be very open for it, and I'll try to contribute of best of my knowledge. So, gentlemen, I'm Sandeep based. I represent a company called Spark Minda. I'm heading the HR function of the company. I come from a non-engineering background. I did my graduation in BBA in the year 2008-9. Then I pursued my full-time MBA in the year 2008 to 10. Then it was a time when I waited for the corporate life, leaving my entire college scenario behind and joined a corporate. So it's almost journey of around 12 years. Currently, I'm based out in Noida, but I'm taking care of Gujarat, Greater Noida, and we are coming up with a new plant in Pune. So for that, we are working on. So this is a bit about me. So I'll open up the platform for the questions actually, and I love to have this session more interactive rather than having one flow of information.
Hello everyone. If you have any question, any doubts, you can ask. He is a HR head and he have more than 13 years of experience in the similar field. So if you have any kind of doubt, any kind of question, it means what question arise at the time of interview, and what is your doubt regarding the interviews, what is the interview process, what HR expect regarding the interview, and also you can ask. This is a totally interaction session.
Can I ask something? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Hi, it's Gurmil here. I want to ask, like, what's the count? Yeah, hi. How are you doing? All right?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. My question is, like, usually HR asks you the question, but what can be the counter question to the HR department that a candidate can ask, other than asking salary and all that? What question he can ask his boss? What should be he looking for kind of a boss? Trait of a boss. What traits? So that he can judge that the boss is good.
Yeah. Good question, Gurmil. I think this is that we are running through a era called the Great Resignation. If you are following any kind of newsletters or blogs, so a lot of HR experts has named this particular era as the Great Resignation era. And the reason of stating this particular word, the great, because it is not a one-side resignation. Sometimes it is on the part of employee, and sometimes it is on the part of employer. So, and the reason why this is coming up nowadays is because of misalignment of student or maybe the candidate, misalignment of expectations, and the biggest is misalignment of culture. We run for the job, giving interview, taking a offer is something like people desperately wait for the meal. But the question which you can always put is, I can request everyone to be in mute. Thank you. So Gurmil, the good question would be, if I would be in the other side of the chair, is the communication practices of the company, how transparent is the company is, how frequently is the top level or top layer of the organization is interacting with the lowest level of the organization, what are the various platforms available to interact and to raise the voice, and the most important,
Gents, can you mute yourself, please? Gents, can you mute yourself? I'm asking a question, and here instructor is giving us the answers. Please, if you are not interested, then I think you should walk away. Please, thank you. Sorry, I'm being blunt because I want to pick up the things.
Great. Thanks, Gurmil. So, continuing to my statement. All right. I think the person is on mute now. Perfect. So again, coming back to the Gurmil's question. So Gurmil, I think I would be more interested to know about the transparency, about the interaction of top level with the junior level, because that will help me to understand that how I will be fitting and the my fitment or my competency would be justifying the roles. So again, to give you a extended example, Gurmil, imagine a company.
Okay. But I think
Anyone?
like okay, my next question is like, I want to know the HR department, if I like, how do they take a criticism? They will say, oh, we take the criticism very constructively. That's their answer usually, is we take it very constructively, we listen, and if it is good, we put it to the higher authorities and we implement it. Okay. How do I know? How will I find out? Do they really mean that? Like, oh, well, usually like if you ask a candidate a question, what do you think about yourself? I'm a very, very hardworking guy. I'm a time punctual and all that kind of things. Everybody says that. But then you ask them how they can prove that they are hardworking. The question is like, they have to give an example that they are hardworking, which can be elaborated example. So how I will ask them a question, how do they take a criticism? And they're going to say, we take the criticism very positively. But can I ask them, give me an example?
Why not?
And if I ask them, usually they don't like that kind of questions because they get agitated. I put that question to the HR a few times and they don't like that.
So Gurmil, again, I'll give you a tip on this. I have seen a lot of cases where people are, upfront coming up with the direct questions. So my suggestion would be, I really can't concentrate. A lot of disturbance. Who's this? Who's not muted?
Guys need to mute. Guys need to mute.
Who's there? Can someone mute it if it is possible in Zoom? Is it mute now? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So, Gurmil, for that instance, I'll suggest you to not to throw the questions directly. Have some diplomacy in such kind of questions where you are, confronting someone.
That's what I want. That's what I want to learn. That's what I want to learn.
And diplomacy is not an art, honestly. It's not an art. It's
to me, to me, it's an art. I'm not about to diplomatic. That's why I'm asking. That's what my learning curve is here. Anyway, you tell me, then I'll try to follow you. I'll try to understand what you say.
Sure. So again, if I have to ask someone, maybe a CEO of the company, whether they are following the right policy and procedure, so I'll not put a straight question. I would, reroute it in such a way that he comes up directly with the answer. Example, if I have to ask him how the policies of the company is and how mature is the organization. So my question would be to the CEO is whether the employee at shop floor is know the name of the CEO, whether the CEO of the company know personally any 10 employees of the company. So I would be asking some indirect questions which ultimately gives an answer to a direct question. But yes, diplomacy is a key, Gurmil, here to find out your right answer.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gurmil. I appreciate your questions.
No, I need to, because I'm learning every day. So I ask the questions. People don't like it, but I do always. That's me.
Great. What about other guys?
Ayushi, now you can ask. You raise the hand now. Now you can ask what is your question.
Good evening.
Okay,
Hi.
Can
fine.
you all
Nice.
hear me?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, I'm Benjamin. I am from the banking sector, right? And
Okay.
presently having bad feelings towards my HR. Reason being that she always feels that those of us, because I work in a development department, more like business analyst, developing the business product of the bank. And most times we do go out to seek for clients and the rest. And I noticed even when we meet up with our responsibility, like you're given a task, we're able to meet 80%, 90%. And you always feel we are not doing anything. And I noticed even when those in the office, the backroom staffs, even when they don't do up to 50, she always feel they are doing much. So it always makes me feel bad. Why would an HR who sees hard work, I'm putting all my best to achieve this thing, I'm selling the bank products, I'm doing all this, doing all that. And being an HR, I expect her to be judgmental on both angles. So why is she feeling that way? Recently, although I got my confirmation, but her actions always easily almost made me resign from the bank to another bank. But I just felt I should just be patient and see how things go. But I just want to know, could there be any reasons why she feel those of us in the development angle, even when we put in our best, she feel we're not doing enough? So is there any answer to that?
It's a vigiling. It's depend on industry to industry, and it's person to person specific. There is no specific answer of it because human nature differ from place to place. Sometimes it also depends on more of the demography and majorly on the environment, how the company environment is all about. I do agree that HR is always should act as a bridge for employee and the employer, and HR is a should have a good ears to listen the employees. But unfortunately, because of the environmental pressure, because of the circumstances, uh, these things cannot be measured and cannot be encountered. So if I have to, give a answer to straight answer to this, it's always go with the flow because times keeps changing. You don't have to defer your way of working. You have to give 100% as always. Uh, and since as I mentioned, time doesn't remain constant; it keeps changing. So someday or maybe very soon, people realizes the hard work, and I think this is the only best thing you can do with having such certain set of HRs.
Okay.
If I may able to give you answer.
Yes, I understand your position and I appreciate that.
Can I add up
Thank
the
you.
things?
Please, Gurumil.
Hi. Yeah. With my experience, what I learned is until a certain age or certain years of your career, you keep taking the things, you keep taking the pressure. And then the point comes when you stop taking the pressure, like it's a spring, you press, and there's a little time when it's compressed fully. If you press it more, it will break. So you need to know where you can handle the pressure and where your breaking point is. When your breaking point comes, you need to now tell your boss, enough is enough. If it's not, I'm going. And second thing which you have to is you need to enjoy your job. If you're enjoying what you're doing, then you will not feel that pressure. And once you start enjoying it, you don't have to work hard because then you work smart. There's a difference: working hard and working smart. Okay, people says, yeah, working hard gives you the a raise. Yeah, it doesn't. Donkeys doesn't get raise. They put more weight on the donkeys. Working smart. Yeah, once my father asked me, I'll give you an example. Once my father I'm from a farming community, and there was a guy who was lifting that 50 kg bag of a fertilizer on his shoulder, and he was walking. And my dad said, Why don't you do that kind of job? You know, you're your same age as him. I said, Dad, my strength is here, not on my shoulder. If he's intelligent enough, why doesn't he use a bike to put the same bag on the bike? Why he's lifting it? Why doesn't he use something else so that he can make his life easy? So I mean to say is you have to have, you know, you need to know your strength, your weakness. Once you know that, and then you have to stand up against. And I stood up against my boss once, and he was pushing. I said, how much you gonna squeeze before I walk away? He said, well, I didn't mean that. I said, no, you need to know that we have enough of you. If you don't back off, I'm resigning. But you need to know, can you find another job as well? Because once you threat that, you can't find another job. If he knows that you're not good enough, you can't find another job, then you know your bluff is gonna backfire. So it's like you calculate every move. What can you do? What you can't do. Once you're in that area where you know what you can do, can you walk away? You know, and then people learn, and your what your case is your success and your story precedes you. People know what kind of person you are. And I'm in aviation field where people know who's who. You know, it's very small. It's small industry in my industry where even if you're good, if someone says something bad about you, you don't get a job. But if someone says he's a good, even if you're bad, you get a job. You know, so it's like what kind of person you are. So
And
that's
just
my. It's like if.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, sorry. Jomel, I want to throw this to you. Okay, I want to throw this to you. Now, the first quarter of the year, I was given a task, right? And my team, we are expected to achieve 75% of that. That's the level. And we're able to, we got 89.5%. That was what we achieved at the second quarter. Now, I noticed another group who are basically background staff were able to achieve 72% of. That means we are higher than what they achieved. Now, at the end of the first quarter, we are expected fine allowances, bonuses to be given to a team are able to achieve more than what the bank set for us. But unfortunately, issues came up and the management feel, okay, my team achieved 89%, the other team achieved 75%, 72%, not up to standard. But we were not appreciated. I just feel because, I don't know, I just have this thought that because we are on the field, we are not in the backroom staff, probably because of some of us in that field are not, don't have additional skills. Aside from me being the team leader, my team members don't have additional skills. And this one I'm doing is one of the reasons why I feel I probably need to add other skills to boost my presence. So, but it's really hot when you have that kind of situation in where you work. You feel you have achieved above the bank standard and you are not being recognized. It's really hot. So I don't know. That's just my worry.
How old are you, if I can ask, if you don't mind?
Okay. I'm in 31 years now.
Sorry,
31.
How old are you?
31.
I'm 50. I'm 50. I'm still learning. We all keep learning. You know, and that's the way we excel. That's the only way. You have to keep refining your skills. You have to keep adding the skills. You know, even in the normal life, you keep adding the skills. I didn't know how to make food when I got married a long time ago. And now my missus has taught me. So that's adding a skill to the life. It makes my life easy. So it's just so everywhere you have to, if you want to excel, the only way is you have to add the skills. We're fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries, anytime. That's a
I'll
discussion.
add
If I'm
something.
wrong, you can correct me.
Gurmil, very well said. I'll just add one more thing. So we are from India, and we face a lot of situations, especially for rewards, recognitions. But one thing I learned, Benjamin, if it can work out for you, is something called self happiness, self starter, self motivator.
Yeah.
What we do here is maybe there is no one to recognize us as an HR also, but please do the things which you love to do. At the end of the day, you should be happy that you have had a very constructive day. And if that self initiation is within you, that spark that will keep you motivated for learning new things. And again, I'll say, no day repeats. No day is the same day. Every day has a start with a new beginning. So take every day as a new challenge and start your day as fresh as your first day.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Can we have few more questions, gentlemen?
No, I'm done for now. Maybe as we progress, other questions could come up. Thank you.
I think someone is in market. Okay, so I'll just maybe if nobody has a question. So when I was discussing with the host from IIPM, wherein they want me to address a specific question at the last of the session, is the expectation of industry from the graduates or the people who are going to complete their courses. So for me, if I have to put my own opinion, is very straight that for today's scenario, as an HR, when we are hiring anyone, not referring the age bar or the experience bar, but the first and foremost things comes is the attitude. Gurmil, I think this will link to you also. We see how person can be a good fit for the organization. If we are hiring someone for the beginner role, we will see the agility, learning attitude, and the knowledge domain base. But the moment we are looking for someone at middle level or at a mid position, we need to understand the people management skill. Apart from the domain knowledge, can the person handle a team? Can a person be a motivator, a leader rather than just a manager? And most important, the industry expertness, which makes people more favorable when it comes to the organization. So I think these are the two things which I was able to figure it out for the for you people as an input, that these are the few things which is mandate uh, with respect to the HR industry. That was a time when we used to focus on the domain knowledge, if I have to give a fair ratio of 70-30. But today the scenario is all the organizations, they are looking for the people, especially in the top or the middle level, with behavioral skills, people management skills, team management skills. Because what we understood from the industry, domain knowledge can be earned, it can be groomed, it can be sharpened. But if someone is lacking in the behavioral skills, that is very difficult to adjust and very difficult to sharpen. So the priority of industry is moving from technical to behavioral side. Yes, Anirban Dhar, if you have anything to ask.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, hi.
Sir, actually, I want to know one question that HR nowadays ask us why. Please say something about yourself and why we are hiring you. What is your advantage? What is your key skill area? Please say something. So what should be my answer to the HR? If you explain, that will be very helpful to us.
Okay, Anirban. So, Anirban, for that, I would request you and also everyone to always look in the job description. Whenever you are applying for a job, whenever you are applying
Basically
for
I
an
am from the I am the operation and maintenance division. Okay, in store part. So what should be my answer to the interviewer or to the HR? Please explain, sir, please.
Sure, sure. So I'll not take your department as a specific one, but I'll take a commonization. So whenever we are applying for any job or any for interview, we should see the job description very thoroughly. And even that gives you an insight that how you have to prepare for your interview.
Okay.
And this differs from organization to organization. So your job description, which you receive from the company, is very important. Please go through it first, that what are the basic requirement, mandate requirement, and must have requirement for the organization.
Okay.
So if suppose if somebody wants in their company that must have is tech savvy, knowledge of XYZ machines, or maybe particular technology, then you have to mold your interview majorly in that domain. You have to talk about that particular technology. You have to talk about that particular machine. You have to give examples that how you were able to make sure that the machine or the process runs because of you. You have to also highlight your advantage being in your existing company, that how you were able to revamp uh, and take the company to a next height. You don't have to talk about your day-to-day work activity. You have to be very precise and highlighting every time the achievement part of it.
Okay.
And every HR will ask you these similar questions again and again. Why? Because every HR wants to understand your your technical fitment, your behavioral fitment with the organization.
Okay.
Please understand that no employee, no interviewer is sitting to reject any employee. And every employee has certain set of competencies. It only differs a company to company. Maybe my set of competencies required in my company, not required in another company. So I cannot take my set of competencies to the next level of the company. That is the reason that HR wants to understand that will you be able to adjust in their culture, in their environment, uh, by so every company go through certain set of processes. They must have seen certain set of challenges.
Okay. So my first goal is to concentrate the position they have hired, and I have to focusing on my achievement part to the HR. And that's you are saying.
Yes, Arinban, if you don't mind, what position are you handling currently in your organization?
Right now, I am a store manager in an organization.
Correct.
That's why I am asking this question.
So just to bit elaborate what I was emphasizing on. So from a store manager, any tomorrow if you're going for an interview and let's say in my company and I am taking your interview.
Okay.
So my expectation from you is something that what you are coming up with, what additional things you can bring on the table, maybe from your past company, what good practices, what best practices, how you revamped maybe a dead system to a lively system. So those would be my requirement from you. And if you are able to narrate it well, I think you have a good advantage or good chances of being in the system.
Okay.
More importantly, today in India, people are focusing on processes. I don't know whether you're working on Oracle or SAP or maybe in-house system.
I'm working on Java.
You're working on Java, correct? Okay. So like our company, our industry, automotive industry works in SAP. So SAP in the store have different kind of modules. So how
we don't have the SAP, but we have the ERP system in my company. But other company asking for the SAP, but my company running on ERP system.
That's what I mentioned, that your competency may be good for your company, not for other companies. because the company who are having the ERP software, you can only apply to those companies, not in the company where they are using SAP.
SAP, exactly. So I have
You have
to
to
learn
understand the
SAP.
job description very thoroughly. You have to understand the reason of that position. Is it an individual contributor or a team contributor? Is it leading the people or self-driving? So you have to understand those key potential points, and you have to prepare your interview accordingly. Hope I am able to give your answer to the question.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you. Yes, someone is raising the hands. You are on mute, Redmi. Redmi, correct? Redmi.
Yes, sir, I want to ask one question. I'm Rupak Shah, sir. Very good evening.
Hi, good evening, Rupak. I can see you now. Thanks.
Hi, Grumel. Very good evening. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Sir, I want to ask one question based on your previous discussion that I'm in a marketing part. I'm in a marketing industry, in a pharmaceutical marketing. And I have handling a team around 6 people. And I want to ask one question. That is, suppose somebody is managing his team very well. Somebody is managing motivating his team very well. Somebody is very skillful. Somebody is handling his team very well. Team is loved the person very much. Team want to do everything for the person. And the another part, somebody is not satisfied with the team, but he's achieving monthly budget.
Okay. Rupak, you're on mute.
Yeah, can you listen me?
Yeah. Okay.
So and another person who is not so much satisfied, not so much able to handling the team, but somehow he is able to manage his budget. Somehow he is achieving his budget month after month. Then what would be the HR choice to promote means who will be the person to HR for the HR to promote give the promotion?
Very interesting and realistic question, Rupak.
This is practical. This is practical phenomena. There is practical thing I'm facing in my organization. That's why I'm asking.
Correct. So Rupak, if I have to be a decision maker in such kind of choice, where is one, if I can correctly understood your question, there is a one person who is achieving the targets, the getting the revenue to the organization, but not able to manage the team, or maybe is team is not satisfied or not happy with the leadership style. On the other hand, there is a person who is a good leader, but he's not performing, and he's not able to give the revenue to the organization. So coming to the point of promotions, Rupak, it's a hard truth that performers only gets the increment or the elevation, but that doesn't mean at the cost of dissatisfaction of the employees. But for any industrialist, the performer would be the first preference. So similarly, if you watch a cricket, or maybe if you are from India, so you must have seen the IPL. So today, if you have to pick a team, Hardik Pandya, maybe Gurmil, I don't know whether you are aware of the Indian cricket team.
Today, I don't follow Indian. I don't IPL. I don't follow IPL much.
Okay.
I do follow cricket, but not that much.
Okay. So you have to, Rupak, you have to cherry pick the performers only, and performance is something which differs all kinds sort of obstacles, questions. It gives you a straight answer that yes, I'm a performer, and performer gets rewards.
Means in everywhere, not in a marketing field or not in the cricketing field. Everywhere, performance is the last word. Performance
True.
does matter. If you do perform well at the end of the month, at the end of the year, then you will get promoted. This is the ultimate thing in any kind
No,
of
no
industry.
substitute of it. No substitute of it. Super.
No substitute.
But that doesn't mean that performers has to compromise on the cost of people. Please, that's a
Hmm.
very underlying thing.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I give my input now? My personal experience, which is I'm not from HR, I'm from a technical department. So I have seen what the HR or what the companies have done. What they did is like you have a 5 team leaders, okay? So 4 are doing really good, okay? They are performing well. Yeah, they are achieving their they have like if they are solving the problem, they are solving. If they're fixing the planes, which we do, and they fix the planes and they do their checks and everything is going good. They're good. Okay, everybody is happy. Now there's a 5th one who's a lazy back. Now he's lazy ass. Okay, sorry my language, but that's how we use it. Lazy. He's a lazy person. Now the company can't sack him. He's not bad performer. He's like if I were the one is giving 100%, he's giving 60%. Yeah. So what company does? They promote him. They don't promote those 4 because they are doing their job what they're supposed to do. But the 5th one who's not doing it, now he's the boss. Because
He will
I have
find the
seen
easier
this.
way. He will find the easier way to solution.
No, he will not find an easier way to solution. He doesn't know because now company can't sack him because company have, if they sack him, it will be a more loss to the company. So what they do is let's promote him. That's what I have seen. And now you have a 5 good engineers. They're doing their job. The 6th one is on the top now, who was 5th one time, and everything is running because the company is ultimately looking at the output, not looking at who's doing what. They are looking at the quick solutions. Quick solution is promote him. He's now boss of those 5 engineers. He can tell them because he doesn't have to work hard now because he has the 5 top working people with him. They are taking the load, not him. You understand what my point? That's what they do. That's what my experience is.
Yeah, that's good experience.
But Gurmil,
Have
a
you
bit
ever
different
seen?
experience.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've seen it.
sorry,
Having very good experience, and it's helped me. It will help me in the future to take any decision. Thanks, Grumel.
But but what my opinion is, if I am there, I will promote the best one. I will promote engineer who has a knowledge plus who has a more human value. How does he bond with the team? I've worked with the brilliant teams of engineers, brilliant, and I have worked with the worst ones as well. Worst one as well. So I've worked with one of the top companies, and I have worked with one of the worst companies. So it's like when I joined my first company, my life, this is the life, this is best, that's what I thought. Then I left that company, went to another one, keep hopping. Then I thought, no, life is beyond what I was thinking. Then I saw what the companies are like, how the good companies behave, how the good companies work. Then you start learning how to work with the bad one as well. Then because you have seen the best side of the, other side of the working culture, then you adjust yourself and then it becomes easy. Then it doesn't affect you mentally because you know what you want, what the other companies are, you can demand. Before that, when you haven't seen the best side, then you you don't demand, basically, you don't ask. When you have seen it and then you can make your choice and all that, then you can decide. And because I have seen both sides, I've seen Indian culture, I've seen British culture, I've seen European culture. So you learn from, and I have seen North India, not South, but I worked in Bombay as well. So I've seen different lifestyles. grown up in a small village too, then went to work in Bombay, then Europe and all that. So it's like until you haven't seen that different sides, you can't have a better choice. You can't make better choices. So keep rolling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So do we have any other questions? Or we are good to conclude the session?
I think don't worry asking any questions. I think people are just here to listen. That's what I'm finding very, very, very sad when I attend classes here. People don't ask questions. They don't discuss. They don't say the things. They think I call the teacher like yourself. I call Sandeep. I don't, because that's what I've grown with. I can call my boss with the name. He doesn't care. And I don't care if my son calls me by my name. He calls me dad. He calls me tu. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me. People think giving a respect is like you need to open up yourself. You have to open up your mind. You have to adapt the ideas. You have to know before you start. I put it in this way. Okay. There are people who are intelligent. There are people who are brilliant. But there are people who are beyond that. What you call them?
Extraordinary.
Intellectuals. No, intellectuals. Who are the intellectuals? There are very few intellectuals. Like, whatever we are learning, we're learning from the books. When you start learning from the nature, from yourself, that's where you're intellectuals. That's intellectual.
That's
like
true.
Newton, nobody told him about gravity. Einstein, nobody told him E is equal to mc squared. He was intellectual. Until you attain that level, you are still learning. Up to a certain level, you learn, then you start learning from yourself.
Okay, sir, I want to have another question. I want to ask you another question.
No. Sorry. have I given what you call poked your intellectualism?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's a several question is coming in my mind, and today's session, luckily I had today's session with the HR. So there is lots of question because I have been in the part of 15 years in the marketing industry. I have faced so many ups and downs, and sometimes a question coming in my mind that why HR is doing all this thing, which purposes HR is doing all these things. Sometimes strategy goes beyond my knowledge. Sometimes strategy is not at per the marks, at per the fields. So that's point of time I used to feel that why HR has been decided this thing. So today I've got the opportunity to meet the
Please,
HR
please
from
go
the
ahead,
front.
Shubham.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask one question. That is, at the end of the year, every organization is giving increment.
Correct.
So sometime I've seen that the person who is achieving more than 100% in the YTD, those who are getting lowest increment, but the person who is having 90 to 95% achievement at the end of the year, they are getting more than increment than a person who is having 100% achievement in the YTD. So how is this possible? Means how HR is calculating their performance, and how HR is thinking about the increment at the time of giving increment. Is there any policy of increment for the HRs?
Okay, so just to give you an insight of two things. In India, it's an increment time which is running, and this is a very realistic thing. Even 2 days back on Friday, I had a similar question from one of my colleagues. So let me brief you a small thing about difference of increment and salaries. So people feel that increment is a birthright. They are working, they have completed a year, so they are supposed to, or they have a they have a right to have an increment. So it's not like that, for a work we are getting salaries, and that is what we are doing for it. Increment comes into the picture when company is performing good, when company has a good revenues, they have a good profit margins, and that profit margins they want to distribute in the people. So that terminology becomes the increment, and it is never that HR decides, or it is never that any individual specific decides the increment. It's basically the organization, their future prospects, their budget. So you are in marketing, you must be having a lot of budgets in hand for any product marketing campaign. Similarly, organization have their budgets. So to cater that their budgets, this increment things comes into the picture. And now coming to the question of distribution, honestly, Rupak, I haven't seen this scenario which you just mentioned, because I have worked with 4 companies, all are good brands, and there is a systems, policies, procedure in place. We always make 9 grid matrix, So there is a 9 grid matrix which have different set of boxes, and we try to place the people at the end of the year on the different boxes.
Okay.
And the reason of putting those boxes is purely their performance. It's purely performance, for sales, in terms of sales numbers, what was the target, how much they were able to contribute, what was the PAT, profit after taxes. So those things comes into the picture, and based on the boxes, the higher the box, the higher the increment, the lower the box, the lower the increment. This formula or this exercise uh, we have practiced, but I haven't seen that somebody is performing well and getting a low increment. uh, I don't know whether you're talking about a junior person getting an increment and comparing with the top person. So there will be always a discrepancy.
No. It's not like that.
If you're talking to
I'm
P2P,
comparing the
yeah, if you're
equal.
talking to P2P, then it should not be the case.
Okay.
Because if 1% increment for a person who is drawing 1 lakh rupees bucks would be much different the person who is just getting INR 10,000 bucks. So percentage would be similar, but the accumulation of currency would be very different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But to be very honest, Rupak, I haven't seen this kind of practice, that performers are not getting good increments or getting lower increments comparing to the low performers.
Yeah. Okay, that means you are saying that performance does matter, as well as the parameter does matter. How
Very
from
much.
which position the employee belongs to. I cannot compare
much.
the 1-year employee to the 10th year employee or 12-year employee of the organization.
Even it is not justified, Rupak, we should always compare apple to apple, not the rate of apple with the rate of orange, just because of the size of the structure.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. That's all.
So, yeah, sure. Manav, are you have any question? You have raised your hand. So, are you have any kind of question? Hello, Manav. Okay, I don't think so. We have any question.
There's one
Okay, fine.
question, sorry. Yeah, sorry, one question here. Yeah. So, usually when you go for interviews, they give you some kind of online test, as a psychological test, or some kind of numerical test, the numerical analysis test. How much does that matter while selecting that candidate? And how much accurate they can assess you psychologically and your numerical analysis, like how much you're good, how much that matters when you're recruiting?
See, Gurmil, psychological test or any psychological method when we apply, it's first of all, it's not meant for the young graduates. To be honest, it is always meant for the leadership teams, because psychological test or the numerical test or any kind of method gives you a personality of the individual. Today, I represent a company called Spark Minda. We are 100% following aptitude test and psychological test for people who are hiring for managerial roles and above, not for below. So And the purpose of these kind of tests is to know the personality. As an HR, I know my company, I know my culture, I know my place. The test will give us an insight of the person, how he or she is reacting in different scenarios. And if those reactions is acceptable by my company, then there is a good to go. If not, then we need to evaluate to what extent the actions are acceptable. And if even not, then there is a simple method of saying no to the candidate. But to be honest, I don't feel for junior level or maybe a startup level, these tests does matter, because once they are in the system, if they are well educated, performing good professional studies, I don't think these are the tests which is required for their selection.
So so for mid-level or higher level management, so psychological test matters. That's what you're saying.
True.
Okay. Well,
Even I was just discussing with faculty today that prior 6 months I was working for a French company called Motul. It's a worldwide name. They are into the racing bikes, and they are the lubricant company. So when I applied for this position for a senior manager role, I had to gone through 3 type of psychological tests, since I was representing the HR. So I personally went for 3 kinds of tests. One was purely on my patience level. They if I can give you an example, they made me wait in the Mumbai one of their corporate office for 1 hour idly, purely idle. I was just sitting, waiting, and they were actually
okay.
analyzing my entire scenario, that what I am doing in vacant time. Whether I'm nervous, whether I'm talking to someone, whether I'm referring any generals, any block. So exactly what is the activity that I'm performing. So that was one of the tests which I went through, because it's not pre-intermediate test. They accept they judge you based on your patience level. Second was a situation based. They put at me few situations, X, Y, Z, and they evaluated my reaction on X, Y, Z situations. And lastly, it was like it's a very tensed and pressurized situation they created. The national sales head had a direct interaction with me, based out at Singapore, and he was very much aggressive when he was taking the final round. And I was trying to make him calm, comfort, and be relaxed, but he was pitching very high tone, blunt. Sometimes he was criticizing my few of the works which I referred in my CV. So they also judged me on those parameters, that how I am reacting to the questions of a national sales head. So at the end, when I got selected, and I did my induction in Singapore. So they shared my report, psychological report, and they also shared the rework areas, improvement points, which I have to carry forward for next 2 years. So yes, it do matters, Gurmil, nowadays.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know. I thought, because once I went for an interview a long time ago, and they put a psychological test and all that, and I basically, it was online test, and I didn't do well. I knew that I didn't do well, and I said, they said, oh, it doesn't matter. So I was like, why did they test me then? That was my question. They gave a job to someone else. I knew the reason why they gave it to someone else, and when I found out that he did a worse than me, his test result was worse than me, but he still got the job. I said, well, it's other reasons, but yeah, so that's why I wanted to know, like, does it matter or does it not matter?
I hope I was able to give the answer of it.
No, I got you, but how much accurate you had, it's like, from HR point of view, I just wanted to know.
Sure. Yes, Induji, if you are there, over to you.
Yeah. So, sir, right now, if any candidate have any question, sir, please could you please check out the chat. There is one question. One student he just write it down something regarding the HR. HR is the backbone of every company, and yet the success of the company comes from the HR, because since HR employees goes the HR and leave through the HR. So he's Adam said it. If you want to explain what you have write, or if you want any kind of question related to that, so you can explain.
Yeah, I would like to hear from the candidate directly because I can't
Yeah,
actually chat.
you can read out from the chat box. There is one student, he just chat some message.
It's not popping up in my window. I don't know why.
Just click on chat. This is sent to everyone.
No, I'm not getting the chat. I think the chat here is not open to everyone. Yeah, now it is, yes.
Now it is
Yeah.
correct. So HR is the backbone of every company, and yet the success of company comes from HR, because since every employee goes the HR and leaves through the HR. I don't know whether it is a compliment or a comment, but yes, I do agree that today HR is not only the HR function, but it is more of a business function. And today now policies are the ladders, I'll say, to climb or to take the organization to the next level. So the HR needs to understand the policies very well, and every policy is not a good fit for every organization. It is always needs to be customized depending on the requirements of the organization, and they have to bridge the gap of communication importantly. And it is true that people comes from HR and leaves in terms of process only, but it is not that reason, because reason of leaving company is always the manager. Yes, I'll say that to an extent I agree with this point, that HR can play a good role to improvise and to bridge the gap of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So now we can close the session, and thank you very much, Sandeep sir, for this session, and thanks to Gurmil sir and Benjamin, and one more candidate is Ronak, right? So thanks for your questions and making the interacting session with the sir. Thank you very much. And
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Sandeep. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss. I don't know your name, but
My name is
don't call me sir. Don't call me sir. Just Gurmal is fine with me. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you
okay.
all.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Benjamin. You had a great input, and thanks everyone. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day.